Chelsea in West London, really affluent, leafy area, and this is the most expensive petrol pump in the country. And I did do some investigative work for you this morning because there are no advertising signs here with the prices of the fuel, so it's actually impossible to know unless you actually go around and look at the individual pumps to see how much the previous person paid. So that's what I did for you this morning. Here they are charging £2.18 per litre for petrol and £2.29 per litre for diesel. So absolutely eye-watering prices. Now
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And in this video, we're going to have a look at one of the highest prices for fuel in the world. I think there's only one country that's currently more expensive to buy fuel than Britain, and that's the Netherlands or Holland. And why is our fuel so expensive? Why are we standing for it? And what can we do about it? So, well, you've just seen the header on the intro coming in. £2.29p for a litre of diesel. And it's not getting cheaper. And in fact, it's likely to get far, far more expensive. So I'm going to have a look at a piece now. I'm going to put myself down in my usual corner. We'll have a look at this piece. And then we'll have a discussion about what we can do about it. So, brace for £3 a litre for diesel. MPs are warned falling cost of global oil is a lull before the storm, with the staggering prospect of prices hitting £2.40 a litre, very nearly, some garages. For petrol, a definite possibility. Average petrol prices at British forecourts hits a record £1.63 per litre yesterday. This is despite crude oil prices falling back down to £77, $101 after a recent spike. But they're being warned it's a lull. Petrol prices could soar as high, blah, blah, blah. We just went there. Spiralling wholesale oil costs sparked by the invasion have seen prices at the pump pushed to record levels. Indeed, we have. And at my local, I think it's £1.72 for a litre of diesel. I'll do a translation. I'll just put it up on screen for anyone sort of from America watching to give you an idea of what the dollars per gallon price is. And trust me, if you started getting prices like that, you would certainly be up in arms. It's just the difference is you've got the arms to be up in. We're not allowed to have them. Good God, wish we had a Second Amendment. Anyway, petrol prices hit yet another record high, with figures showing the average cost of a litre of petrol at UK forecourts on Monday was 163.7, up from 148 just a month ago. So that's over a 10% rise. Diesel was also a record high of 173.7, up from 151, another 10% rise. The sudden price hike has been yet another blow for Britons already facing a cost of living crisis. Indeed it has, with slowly rising interest rates, food costs going very much higher, and yet to rise again because obviously so much grain comes out of Ukraine that the grain prices are going to go whoosh. So food prices generally are going to rise significantly. And now, of course, the transport costs associated with haulage and distribution of those foods are going to go up. That will add even more price pressure. So not only can you not afford to get to work, but when you're there, you're not going to be able to earn enough to actually buy, your weekly shopping. So something's going to happen. But we'll come to that. Drivers are now being warned that pump prices could in fact rise even further. She also warned that diesel prices are £2.50, even closer to £3, said Dr. Amrita Sen, Director of Research at Energy Aspects, were the realms of possibility. Nathan Piper, Head of Oil and Gas Research at financial services company Investec, meanwhile warned that drivers need to get ready for what could be continued increases in fuel prices. And I bet the Chancellor's loving it. He's thinking, all that extra money. Because you might not take so many pleasure trips, but you've still got to get to work, you've still got to do your shopping. Oil prices have no ceiling. This is true. They have a floor, but no ceiling. the price per barrel of Brent crude had reached an eye-watering $139. I don't know why they're quoting it in pounds. Oil's always quoted in dollars. On Monday of last week, its highest in 14 years. It fell back to 109 2 days later and is sitting at the moment at 101. But you wouldn't know that from the pump prices. Lockdowns in China have also helped. One of the other problems we've got is mass investment in China is also sucking a lot of the oil that's produced. So you're having a higher demand, especially from the Far East. But supply isn't rising to match it. They are trying to get the Saudis to increase supply, but they're all still thinking, actually, if we don't, we can keep the price high. You know, that's how it works. But it is not going down anytime soon. So expect far higher food prices, commodity prices. In fact, anything you want is going to go up in value. This will mean that poverty will soon be following. The only way around it is to increase wages. Wages have got to go up to meet this, because companies will be finding themselves with no workers, because workers won't be able to afford to drive into work. If you're having to pay, let's say currently £20 a day to go to work because you live however many miles away, now imagine it's £40 a day. It's an extra £100 a week. Let's say £450 a month. Now you need to earn maybe £650 a month more, getting on for £700 a month more to cover that, because obviously they pay you more, but you're going to get taxed on it. So they're going to have to put your wages up £600 a month just for you to cover your excess fuel bill. Never mind the fact that your food bill's gone up, your rates have gone up, your electricity bill's going up, everything's going up. I worked out that I would, if I was at my old job, I would have to ask my boss for a cost of living increase, pre-income tax, the tax I pay on my earnings. It would have to be almost £1,000 a month just to stay where I am. Well, how's he going to afford that? And I'm only one person. How's he going to afford that for all the people working for him? He's going to put on close to £500,000 onto his wage bill every year. He'd have to put his prices up. Everyone's prices have to go up. We're going to be into a spiral of inflation. It's going to hurt. And the problem with this is most people, certainly everyone under 30, probably most people under 40, won't remember the last time we had inflation at this high, and interest rates will have to rise to match it. It was probably in the mid-70s. I remember the mid-70s when inflation was 25%. Ford come out, I think, every 3 years on the bounce and got a mid-20s. I think one year they got a 30% pay rise. Otherwise, mid-20s% pay rise. Anyone who bought a house in 1972 was laughing, because that house they bought for, say, 7,000, 8,000 in 1972 and could barely afford the mortgage on. By 1978 they were earning 10,000 a year, so they were earning more than their house was worth within 5 years. This is what happens, and it's going to happen again. But no one will be able to buy a house now, because if interest is at 10%, which is the only way you can defeat the inflation, is to raise the interest rates. Well, a house today, a cheap house today in this country, you're talking 200,000. So you'd have to pay 20,000 a year just in interest alone. How are you going to afford that? I worry very much now for the future. It's not a case of I'm all right, Jack. I am fortunate enough. I've got my house. Kids coming up today, I haven't got a bloody hope. And I was thinking of retiring. Not a chance. Can't afford to if we're going to get that kind of interest and that kind of inflation. So I've got to stay on now. Thanks. And the only way we're going to get out of it is if this war with Russia ends within days, really, a week at the most. Because if it goes into the full cycle where the wage rises are going to have to match, then everything spirals upwards, and that's the end of it. And it's probably going to take 3 to 4 years of really high spiraling inflation, pay rises, interest rate rises, everything going through the roof, to get it back under control. And they don't have the unions that were strong, and they don't have anyone with balls like Thatcher. So yeah, this could be very, very nasty. So kids, be prepared. Anyway, I'll come up and we'll round this off now. Yeah, so sorry to be the bearer of doom and gloom like that, but I really don't see much way out of this inflation spiral based on fuel price alone. And that's before, as I say, you take into effect the knock-on effect on food, what's already rising food prices, and other forms of fuel, like electricity is going up, gas is going up. They've just raised the levy, not the levy, the cap rather, on fuel prices by 50%. There is something they can do about fuel prices. 25% of the cost of electricity is added on by the government to provide subsidies for green energy. Well, I've got a cure for actually the price of, say, production of energy, electricity and gas in this country. And that is, start digging up the coal mines, open up a few coal-powered stations like China does every few days, and burn coal and say, screw it, we can't live a Stone Age existence just because Carrie doesn't like coal-fired power stations. We only need to build 2 or 3. The modern ones are cleaner than the old ones anyway. And it would help. And the other thing is, of course, fracking. Screw the Greens, line the Greens up, tell them to sod off, get fracking. We've got 5,500 years worth of gas sitting under our feet. Why are we buying it from anywhere else? We'd have nice cheap gas, nice cheap electricity. We could be a world leader in output because our costs were low. But no, not while Carrie's got them, or rather them, because he's only got tiny. If he's got any balls at all, they're tiny ones. Not while she's got them in her hand. Boris won't do that, will he? Maybe it's time for someone who's not Boris. Anyway, if you like what you hear and see on this channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications on new output, leave a like, leave a comment, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.